This one's a frustrating one. Broncos lose 17-16 to the Las Vegas Raiders. Broncos went risky early. They won the coin toss, deferred, and then attempted an onside kick, which seemed like it worked at first, except they touched the ball before it went 10 yards. So the Raiders got the ball at the 44, at the Broncos 44, and scored with 9:28 to go in the first quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo hits Jacoby Myers for a 3-yard touchdown, and then Daniel Carlson tacks on the extra point to make it 7-0. And first offensive drive for the Broncos did not seem like it was going to start out well, because the return team screwed up penalty. The Broncos started the drive at their own 14, but props to the offense on going 86 yards in 14 plays, taking 8:44 off the clock to score their first touchdown of the season with 44 seconds left. Russell Wilson hits Lil Jordan Humphrey for a 5-yard touchdown. And then Will Lutz misses the extra point. So the Raiders are still up 7-6. And that ends up being very important. And that's how the first quarter ended. And the Broncos defense was hitting Josh Jacobs low early, and that was what they needed to do to stop him. So then, of course, second quarter starts, and the Raiders drive the ball. They drive the ball right down the field into a goal to go situation. Broncos made a good goal line stand to force a field goal, though. So with 10:54 to go in the second, Daniel Carlson hits a 24-yard field goal, and the Raiders are up 10-6. Then, well, then they mucked around for a bit. The Broncos got no pressure on Garoppolo, and the offensive line seemed to be struggling. But then they got a 9-play, 75-yard drive to cap off the second quarter with a touchdown. So with 12 seconds left, Russell Wilson hit Cortland Sutton this time for a 5-yard score. And this time Will Lutz made the extra point. So now the Broncos all of a sudden go into halftime up 13-10. Broncos started the third with a pretty good drive. They got into field goal range and then kind of stalled out. And then Will Lutz missed a 55-yard field goal. So the Raiders got good field position and drove the ball 13 plays, 49 yards in 13 plays, taking 7 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock into another goal to go situation where the Broncos held on to the lead with an interception from Kareem Jackson. So then that was how the third quarter ended. And at that point, the Broncos had 5 possessions total. The Raiders had 4. So then, or the Broncos were on their 5th possession, I should say. So then, to start the fourth, the Broncos finish that possession. They drive 16 plays, 75 yards. They take 8 minutes and 7 seconds off the clock. It's helped by the Raiders committing a roughing the kicker penalty. And then they don't find the end zone. They only get a field goal out of it. It's a 24-yard field goal from Will Lutz with 8 minutes and 54 seconds left. Which, of course, means the Raiders get the ball back, and then they move down the field quickly this time, somewhat, and they scored a touchdown with 6 minutes and 34 seconds left. Jimmy Garoppolo hit Jacoby Myers from 6 yards out for the score, and then Daniel Carlson made the extra point. And then the Broncos had the only 3 and out of the game. Immediately after that. So the Raiders got the ball back, up by 1, and they didn't give it up. They were helped by Kareem Jackson committing a stupid penalty right at the end, too. Or near the end, to give them a first down. So the Broncos lose. Fall to 0-1. The Raiders are 1-0. Great. My prediction already looks terrible. The Raiders outgained the Broncos by 1 yard, 261 to 260. Broncos outpossessed the Raiders, though. The Broncos had 4 minutes more of possession time, 32:08 to 27:52. Both quarterbacks had games. Garoppolo went 26 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the interception. Wilson completed 27 of 34, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. So, not bad games from either quarterback. I said it before, the Broncos defense just couldn't get any sacks today. They got no pressure on Garoppolo at all. Wilson was only sacked twice, so the offensive line kind of cleaned it up, but he was pressured a lot more than Garoppolo was. It's the Broncos' 8th straight loss when leading at halftime. So they've got to learn how to hold a halftime lead. And between this game and last season, the Broncos have now lost. Between this game and last season, in the last year, the Broncos have lost 8 games that they would have won if they had scored 18 points in regulation. 18 points. Again. Anyways, on to next week.